Today I'm going to tell you a couple of stories from my childhood. I grew up in India, and for the first 10 years of my life, I lived in Mumbai, which is a large city like New York City. So, only animals or birds I saw were cows and pigeons and crows. And then we moved to Nagpur. And Nagpur is in the central part of India. And when we moved there, it was just full of animal life. We had foxes, we had monkeys, we had cobras, cows, all kinds of animals living quite cooperatively with the human beings. And it was quite a shock for a city kid like me who really had not come across these animals before. So, one story I remember very vividly is visiting my father's friends one evening for tea. And we're all sitting around in the living room, sipping tea when the husband asked his wife, "How was your day?" And the wife said, "Oh, it was really nice, just a usual day, except for one thing. I found a cobra in the bathroom and I killed it." And the husband said, "Well, anybody hurt?" And she said, "No." And he said, "Oh, all right." And he continued to talk to us. And of course, we were sitting at the edge of our seat going, "What? What? You killed a cobra? How did you do this?" And the wife just said, "Oh, it was no big deal." And what she had actually done, what she explained to us, was there is a special stick that you use to kill a cobra. And it's like a three-pronged stick. And if the cobra is still, you can aim it and you can hit it in such a way so that the middle prong goes into the cobra's head and the other two prongs go into the ground so that the cobra can't escape its death. To us children, that was like a gruesome, adventurous, amazing story. And her whole manner in telling this story was, "Oh, this was just another wifely duty she did today." So I still remember that story with quite fondness. Now we started getting used to Nagpur. So I'll tell you another story. Um, this story is about monkeys in Nagpur. There were lots of monkeys milling about. They used to come and watch us from the windows. They would sit on the trees and watch human beings walking around. And generally, they left them alone. They really didn't try to bother us, except for one monkey who used to like to come to my mother's kitchen. And this monkey was a pretty smart monkey. We used to sleep in the backyard. In those times, it was safe to do it. We would bring our cots out and sleep under the sky, and the kitchen door would be closed. But this monkey had figured out how to open the kitchen door, go in, find the shelf where my mother keeps peanuts, unscrew the jar, and take the peanuts out. And my mother was so impressed by this monkey that she had actually labeled the jar the monkey's jar, and she used to keep peanuts in it. Because we all decided that if he can do that, he really deserves to eat peanuts. So that was our way of enjoying the monkeys around us. Sometimes it was very unnerving because the monkeys would be watching us from the walls and from the windows, and they would make faces at us and they would be imitating us. And if you're not used to it, it is very strange feeling to be all the time being watched at by someone up there that you really can't see. Um, I'll tell you another funny story. One time, this is around the time when I went to college, so I was about 18 years old, and I was waiting for my best friend to come visit me. So I was outside my house watching the road, and we lived at the outskirts of the city, so the road was pretty lonely. It was it had lots of teak trees lining it, and there used to be a lot of monkeys sitting on those trees. And my friend was riding a bicycle and coming up the road, so I was watching her come in. And what happened usually when we were on this road was that the monkeys would be imitating us and making faces at us. So I guess this time when the monkey was making a face at her, my friend decided to make a face back at the monkey. So when the monkey made a face, she made a face. Well, it happened to be the lead monkey of the pack, and he really didn't like being made fun of. So he jumped off the tree and he started chasing her. And now, of course, since he jumped off the tree, all the other monkeys jumped off the tree and they started chasing her. So I'm watching this, my friend coming in, bicycling as fast as she could to escape the monkeys who are coming up in a line chasing her. So of course I opened the door, and she came running in, and we got into the house. We closed the door and we were safe. But that was so vivid in my mind. Interesting thing about this is how some things that are so important to you, other people don't remember. Later on, a few years ago, I met my friend in India when I was visiting India. And I said, "Do you remember the day when you were chased by the monkeys?" And my friend said, "Well, I do remember bicycling very hard. And I do remember something happened with the monkeys, but I really don't have the whole recollection like you do." And I guess for me, because I was watching it from a distance, it was like a drama unfolding. And I guess she was right in the middle of it, just trying to save herself from the monkeys. So she probably doesn't remember it as well as I do. I have another funny story. This is related to my mother's friend. And my mother's friend was making Indian bread called chapatis. And she had the dough, and the way you do it is that you make the dough, and then you roll out the dough in small balls, and then you make like a roasted Indian bread. So she was busy doing that in her kitchen, and she had a tap on her shoulder, and she didn't turn around. She thought it was her husband, and so what did she do? She ignored him. So she has another tap on her shoulder. So this time she got annoyed that he was bothering her with her work. So she kind of turned around with a frown on her face and said, "What do you want?" And instead of her husband, there was a monkey standing there, politely tapping her on the shoulder for some dough. So of course she got all on nerve, very excited, very nervous. She gave the entire dough to the monkey instead of giving a piece, and ran out of the kitchen. And of course the monkey politely retreated back to the tree. The mission was accomplished. These were real fun times growing up in Nagpur. When I grew up, there were not that many people. Now it is a very big city. So I have no idea whether there are monkeys still running around visiting people's houses. But I hope they do, because as kids, we had a great time growing up with them. Thank you.